The first light of dawn gently touched the city. Golden rays stretched across the sky, painting it with soft blues and pale oranges. Below, the large, modern hospital building stood quiet and still. It was a peaceful moment, a calm before the day's busy rhythm began. Soon, the corridors would fill with people. Inside the hospital, the bright lights of the main corridor were already on. Ethan Powell, a radiology technician, walked with a calm, purposeful stride. He wore his light blue medical scrubs ready for the day. As he passed, he gave a friendly nod to a nurse who was pushing a cart. This routine was familiar, a quiet start to another busy workday. In the staff changing room, Ethan began his daily transformation. He carefully pulled on his light blue medical scrubs, feeling the familiar fabric. He clipped his hospital ID badge to the collar, a small but important gesture. It was more than just clothes, it was putting on his professional self. He felt ready to face whatever the day might bring.
Ethan was now in the MRI control room, a quiet space next to the main scanner. He sat before a computer monitor, reviewing the day's schedule. Names and times scrolled across the screen, each representing a patient he would soon help. He double-checked the details, ensuring everything was organized and ready. His focus was clear and professional. In the nearby waiting area, Joyce Middleton sat quietly. She was a woman of 68, with shoulder-length gray hair. Her hands tightly clutched her handbag, her knuckles white. A worried expression creased her face, showing her uncertainty about the upcoming scan. She seemed a little nervous, perhaps wondering what the MRI would reveal. A few moments later, Ethan entered the waiting area. He scanned the room, his eyes quickly finding Joyce. "Joyce Middleton?" he called out gently, his voice calm and clear. He offered her a warm, reassuring smile, hoping to ease her worries. Joyce looked up, her expression softening slightly at his kind demeanor. Ethan gently led Joyce from the waiting area towards the MRI suite. As they walked, he spoke in a calm, explanatory tone. "We're just going into the room where the MRI machine is," he said. "I'll explain everything you need to know before we start." Joyce listened carefully, her initial anxiety slowly giving way to trust. Inside the MRI room, Ethan helped Joyce onto the long, flat table. He moved with practiced ease, ensuring her safety and comfort. "Just lie back here, Mrs. Middleton," he said softly. He then placed a soft pillow gently under her knees, making sure she was relaxed. Her comfort was his priority. With Joyce settled, Ethan began the crucial safety checklist. He held a clipboard, his eyes serious and focused. "Do you have any metal implants, Mrs. Middleton?" he asked, his voice clear. "Any pacemakers, surgical clips, or joint replacements?" He needed to be absolutely sure for her safety. Joyce shook her head gently, indicating she had no metal implants. A small, appreciative smile touched her lips. Her worried expression had now completely softened. She clearly valued Ethan's careful and thorough approach. She felt reassured knowing she was in good hands. Ethan gently placed soft headphones over Joyce's ears, helping to muffle the loud sounds of the machine. Then he handed her a small rubber squeeze ball. "This is your call button, Joyce," he explained calmly. "If you need anything, just squeeze it, and I'll be right there." Joyce nodded, her worried expression softening slightly as she gripped the ball. Ethan gave Joyce a final encouraging smile before he turned and walked towards the control room. He stepped inside, the large glass window separating him from the MRI suite. Through the clear pane, he looked back at Joyce, who was still on the table. He gave her a reassuring thumbs up, a silent promise of support. Joyce saw his gesture and offered a small, brave nod in return. Once settled in the control room, Ethan adjusted his headset and leaned closer to the microphone.
His voice was calm and steady, echoing softly through Joyce's headphones. "All right, Joyce," he began, his tone professional and clear. "The scan will begin now. Please try to remain as still as possible." He watched the monitors, ready to start the procedure. With a soft whirring sound, the patient table slowly began to move. Joyce Milton, lying still, was gently guided into the bright, cylindrical tunnel of the MRI machine. As she moved deeper, the machine started to hum, then clicked, and soon began to make loud, rhythmic thumping sounds. The noise filled the air, a clinical and mechanical symphony. Inside the control room, the computer screen displayed a series of intricate images. Black and white cross-section images of a brain began to appear, one by one. Each slice was remarkably clear, showing the complex structures with precise detail. The technical process was unfolding perfectly, capturing every necessary angle for diagnosis. Ethan watched the monitor intently, his dark eyes fixed on the unfolding images. His expression was one of deep concentration, a slight furrow in his brow. He carefully reviewed each new scan, ensuring the quality and completeness of the data. His diligence was evident. He wanted to capture the best possible images for Joyce. After what felt like a long time, the rhythmic sounds of the MRI machine finally ceased. The scan was over. Ethan returned to the room and helped a relieved Joyce sit up slowly on the table. She stretched, a small smile forming on her lips. "Thank you, Ethan," she said, her voice soft with gratitude. "You were very kind." Later that morning, Ethan was in the X-ray room. He moved with practiced efficiency, wiping down the flat patient table and the vertical stand. The articulated mechanical arm of the X-ray equipment hung silently above. He was preparing the sterile environment for his next patient, ensuring everything was clean and ready. Ethan stepped to the door and called out the next patient's name. "Dennis O'Connell?" he announced. A man, Dennis O'Connell, slowly walked into the room, his face etched with discomfort. He cradled his left shoulder with his right hand, a clear sign of pain. Ethan's expression immediately shifted to one of empathy and professional concern. "Hello, Dennis," Ethan greeted, his voice gentle. "We're going to take a couple of X-rays of your shoulder." He then began to explain the procedure clearly, gesturing towards the equipment. "I'll need you to stand against this plate here," he instructed, pointing to the vertical X-ray stand. Dennis nodded, listening carefully despite his discomfort. Ethan moved with practiced ease, his hands gently guiding Dennis. He adjusted Dennis's arm and torso, ensuring the patient was perfectly aligned on the X-ray table. Ethan knew that even a slight shift could blur the image, making it less useful for diagnosis. His focus was absolute, making sure Dennis was comfortable yet precisely positioned for the best possible view of his shoulder. Once Dennis was set, Ethan calmly stepped back, moving behind the protective leaded glass screen. This barrier kept him safe from the radiation while he operated the machine. He looked at Dennis through the glass, his voice clear and reassuring. "Okay, Dennis, take a deep breath for me now," Ethan instructed, "and hold it steady." With Dennis holding his breath, Ethan pressed a button on the control panel. A soft, almost imperceptible whirring sound emanated from the X-ray machine. It was a quick technical moment, a flash of energy passing through Dennis's shoulder. Ethan watched the indicators, confirming the exposure was successful. He knew that every second counted in getting a clear image. Almost instantly, a crisp, detailed X-ray image of a shoulder joint materialized on the monitor screen beside Ethan. He leaned in, examining the bones and joints carefully. The image was clear and perfectly positioned. Ethan let out a quiet sigh of relief and nodded, a look of satisfaction spreading across his face. Another successful scan.
Later, the aroma of hospital food filled the air as Ethan sat in the bustling cafeteria. He slowly ate a salad, the crisp lettuce and vegetables, a welcome break from the sterile environment of his department. While he ate, he scrolled through his phone, catching up on news and messages. This was his quiet moment, a chance to detach from the day's procedures before returning to work. As his shift neared its end, Ethan was back at his desk, diligently typing up notes from the day's appointments. He meticulously filed away reports, ensuring every detail was recorded accurately. It was a crucial part of his job, making sure patient information was complete and accessible. His focus was unwavering, bringing a conclusive end to his workday responsibilities. With his notes filed and reports completed, Ethan stood up, stretching slightly. He walked over to the time clock near the staff exit. He pulled out his hospital ID badge, its blue lanyard familiar in his hand. With a final swipe, a soft beep confirmed his departure, officially ending his workday. A quiet sense of weariness, mixed with relief, settled over him. Stepping out of the hospital's main entrance, Ethan took a deep breath of the evening air. The sky above was painted with warm hues of orange and soft purple as the sun began its descent. It was a peaceful transition from the sterile hospital environment to the calm of the outside world. He started his walk home, leaving the day's work behind him. Soon, Ethan arrived at his apartment building, the familiar brick facade a welcome sight. He climbed the short flight of stairs to his floor. Reaching his door, a simple dark green painted wooden door, he pulled out his keys. The tarnished brass number 4B glinted softly in the fading light. He inserted the key, feeling a pleasant anticipation of being home. As the dark green door swung inward, a warm, welcoming sight greeted Ethan. His two beloved cats, Jasper and Onyx, were sitting patiently just inside the threshold. They looked up at him with bright, expectant eyes, their tails giving slight happy twitches. Jasper, with his distinctive black patch, and Onyx, with his white paws, were ready for their human. This was the best part of his day. As Ethan unlocked his apartment door, a wave of exhaustion washed over him. He had spent a long day performing scans and explaining procedures. However, the moment he pushed the door open, a soft meow echoed from inside. His tired face instantly lit up with a genuine smile. He crouched down. Jasper, the energetic white cat, and Onyx, the calmer black one, immediately came forward. They rubbed against his legs, purring loudly. Since he had arrived, the stress of the day began to melt away. Later that evening, Ethan found himself completely relaxed on his comfortable couch. A warm cup of tea rested in his hands, its gentle steam rising. Onyx was curled peacefully on his lap, a dark, comforting weight. Jasper, meanwhile, was sound asleep on the cushion right next to him, a soft white and black bundle. Ethan took a slow breath, feeling completely content. The quiet evening at home, surrounded by his beloved pets, was the perfect end to his busy day.
Es momento de la trivia. Te haré 2 preguntas sobre la historia que acabas de escuchar. Piensa bien las respuestas y déjalas en los comentarios. Pregunta número 1. ¿Qué sonidos específicos produjo la máquina de resonancia magnética durante el escaneo de Joyce? Tómate tu tiempo para pensar. Pregunta número 2. ¿Cómo cambió el estado de ánimo de Ethan al llegar a casa y ver a sus gatos? Esas son las 2 preguntas de nuestra trivia. No olvides dejar tus respuestas en los comentarios. Me encanta leer lo que piensan sobre las historias.
Si te gustó el video, pon me gusta, suscríbete y activa la campanita para ver más historias.